So I spent my 25th birthday crying. The whole trip, I felt on the brink of tears, probably every single day. And I don't want to feel alone anymore. I recently came back from a pre-birthday trip to Singapore, and it was my first time traveling all alone, completely doing everything by myself. Yeah, I've just been used to celebrating my birthday alone most of my life, at least like a lot more intimately compared to what other people may experience, like with a whole party and a big family and everything. It's complicated, but I wanted to take a moment to debrief my trip. I want to be able to look back on my time in Singapore very fondly and look back at these clips and remember all of the fun that I had despite the roller coaster of emotions that I went through, that kind of overshadowed it almost. And yeah, like no one should feel sad about their birthday, and they shouldn't feel sad about feeling celebrated or wanting to do something with people or with themselves if that's what they'd rather do. So yeah, I'm just gonna remind myself that I had a good time, but there's also a lot that I wanna unpack. A big part of why I chose Singapore as my destination for this trip is because I was born there. So yeah, I only stayed there like for a few years as a baby, and I don't really remember much of it, but my siblings stayed there for a good part of their lives. Like for a while, it was majority of their lives. And I thought it would be like a special trip to be able to visit my birthplace and explore it on my own and kind of learn about what this chapter of my family's life was like. I actually got the chance to meet up with one of my brother's childhood best friends, and he took me to like a local dim sum place, and yeah, I got to talk a lot with him. Yeah, it was nice to know that my family had a life here back then, and that there are still people thinking about us and looking after my brother. It was really sweet.
Pero ang katotohanan, gusto nilang manatili yung bihirang na yun.
I don't think decades or ages necessarily have to, put so much value into specific numbers, but I think given with where you are in life and your maturity and your life experience, 25 can be a lot for some people. And for me, it's definitely a lot. I'm in my mid 20s. As a young adult, you start to navigate all these new responsibilities, and you almost go through like a wake up call of how much you actually don't know and how much you need to learn. And so 25 welcomes in a lot of opportunities for sure. Like, I'm excited to see how much I'm capable of, but turning 25, I'm starting to realize also involves a lot of letting go of things and letting go of your old self. And that's a really scary thing. I mean, compared to the typical lifespan of a person, 25 is like such a small percentage of your life. So when we grow up being used to certain things, up until this point, obviously it's a little scary to just shed yourself of the person that you used to be and what you used to believe in. I am like trying to be okay with doing things alone and figuring out things alone. And so, one thing that I found to kind of help me and keep life exciting for me is to start new traditions with myself. Because I'm a very sentimental person. So, like, to be able to, I don't know, have keepsakes of like these chapters of my life is something that I want to like keep doing and make sure that I'm documenting my life in a meaningful way so that I'm not looking back at it with regrets. And so something that I'm starting new with myself when I travel, I want to buy a postcard at the beginning of the trip and write a letter to myself. And then by the end of the trip, I'll do the same and reflect on the trip. Because when I look back on my postcard entries, like they were so different from each other. So that's like such an interesting thing to look back on too. So this is the postcard that I got from the National Gallery. It's like figs or like fruit. But I'd like to share a little passage that I wrote on the back of it. It's so crazy to walk these streets and imagine how this could have been daily life in a parallel universe. I got kind of emotional yesterday thinking about little Leash and how young I was when we left. This trip is just as much for her as it is for me, and I will walk with her hand in hand everywhere I go. So I'm currently walking to where my destination was supposed to be. I took an MRT back and it's a 10-minute walk to the hawker center. But yeah, a little annoyed that I got lost and was delaying the meal that I so badly need after a workout. The sun is so crazy because I'm by like the harbor side of Singapore, so there is no shade and my skin hurts, my bags are out of place. I'm by a highway. Today is very spontaneous, and the fact that I stayed up last night to plan my itinerary a little bit better, but you know, as with a lot of things, sometimes life doesn't go according to plan. That's okay. We roll with the punches. It's still a beautiful day out. I'm here in Singapore, exploring the city. I shouldn't complain.
as a deaf artist, I believe that storytelling can reach depths that unite us all.
Close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting for me. And I call mine through the dark, through the door, through it no one's been before, but it feels like home.
I think I learned a lot about myself during this trip because I was experiencing things for the first time, like staying at a hostel by myself with random people and dealing with annoying neighbors and trying to navigate public transport on my own.
Only on my last day of my trip have I fully realized how the bus etiquette works here. Admittedly, I did not research that much before coming here, but yeah, I keep missing my stop unless I push the button.
A big thing that I learned is that I'm actually capable of meeting new people and reaching out to new people, because if anyone knows me from back home, from here in Manila, I'm very introverted. It's so hard for me to go up to someone and start a conversation and introduce myself. I'm also terrible at small talk. So the only instances where I would make a new friend is if someone would go up to me first or if I met someone through a mutual friend. So it was nice to be able to strike up conversations with people, mostly fellow tourists. Like, I spoke to a group of Filipinos on a bus, on a double-decker bus. And it was interesting too because they were Bisaya. So there's still a language barrier, even if we are from the Philippines, from the same country. I met someone who came from Italy, who was also a solo traveler. And then I struck up a surprisingly long conversation with this Irish guy who wanted directions in figuring out the MRT. So, best of luck to that guy out there. Congratulations on your PhD. I hope you made it in one piece in your solo backpacking experience. Oh, a big thing that I experienced for the first time is staying at a host. So I met this stranger through a Facebook group. It's pretty safe. Like, it's all female travelers who just are looking for a place to stay or who are willing to host people in their country. And so I reached out to her through that group. And yeah, she's hosted a bunch of people before. And I took a shot because Singapore is very expensive. Because I was considering, like, maybe I should just tough it out in the hostel for longer to maybe save. But it was such a fruitful experience, honestly. Like, I didn't get to learn what her age was, but she's definitely like an older woman compared to where I'm at in life. And I was able to talk to her like she was just a normal friend. And it was nice to hear about like her life experience and the advice that she had for me. And like I just met this woman and she's here telling me that I got to see the world and I'm a lot more capable than I give myself credit for. Like, all of these nice things. And yeah, she was like feeding me so much food when we had dinner too. And yeah, it was so nice to know that the world is so much bigger than the life that I know back home. Like, a big part of why I've been so emotional lately is just going through a lot of conflict in my life and a lot of, like I've been saying, a lot of changes, a lot of tough wake up calls. And when you're going through problems, it often feels like the whole world is crumbling down on you and like you have nowhere to go, no one else to reach out to. And like, when you get to a dark place, you even consider like, oh, is there anything worth living for anymore? I just feel the need to talk this out with someone or just to share my feelings out in the open because I feel like I've been holding so much in. And I know this is such like a privileged thing with what I'm about to say, but once you are able to experience things outside of what you're used to, it kind of opens up your world a lot and it opens up a lot of possibilities. And I'm so like grateful for the opportunity that I get to travel, especially like on my own money, on my own dime. But it's so strange because even if I like went through all of these new experiences and I had these realizations, once I came back home, I quickly kind of went back into that bubble. It's such a big part of loving yourself and being there for yourself, but it's also incredibly lonely. It's fucking human to like want community, and I feel like I have to choose one over the other while giving up a big part of myself or a big part of my values. I just want to know that there are people who see me and are willing to understand me. And the world just felt smaller. Yeah, it's a strange thing to explain. I don't know what profound lesson is to come of that. But if this vlog is anything to be a reminder of, I think it is a reminder to myself, at least, that I have so much more of life and so much more of the world to explore and so much more people to meet and connect with. And like I can build a community wherever I want to plant my feet. So I'm trying to learn how to be okay with letting go of things, of, past versions of me who were maybe a little bit more immature, or versions of me that were small minded. So I'm kind of navigating that, but also trying to learn how to be alone for the moment and just also keep it at the back of my mind that things are going to get better. My world is going to get bigger. My life seems to be getting a lot more intimate as I grow older. And so I want to learn how to be okay with that. Not okay with it, but just like, even if it's not ideal and it's not the norm that everyone posts about on social media, or like it's not a shared experience for a lot of people, it doesn't mean that my life is any less fruitful or any less colorful or fun. My life is just my life, and I'm excited to learn what that means and what that entails as I go through this new age and figure out what's next for this chapter.
Are you moving much too fast? And the good times just don't last if you're always on the go. Make an angel in the snow and freeze. Do you feel like you're stuck in time, forever waiting on that line? If nothing ever moves, put the needle to the groove and sing. Is it a dream keeping you awake? Is the stillness that makes you shake. If you need to know for sure what's on the ocean floor, you'll sink. Do you like things the way they seem? Or are you looking behind the scenes? Well, if you got to know what it takes to make it so, just believe. Are there dark parts to your mind? Hidden secrets left behind where no one ever goes, but everybody knows it's alright. Do you get dizzy? Must be something going round. What blows us here today? It'll blow us all away. Breeze.
To anyone out there who has been going through the birthday blues or the holiday blues, just know that you're not alone and there is a life out there for you. And I hope that you find comfort in discovering and loving yourself and all of the messiness that it comes with. We're all complicated people and we have contradicting emotions all of the time, and it's confusing, but it's human. And I think that in itself is a huge reminder that you're not alone in this world. So, yeah, belated happy birthday to me. I am so proud of myself and I'm so excited to see what this year brings. Happy holidays and happy new year. I hope that the year does everyone well and it can only go up from here. So yeah. Bye.